Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. So some continued consolidation in tech and semiconductors, continued strength in the financial sector. I'll let you know what I'm looking for in the short term as far as the rotational game. And we'll go over a gold trade that I made with a falling wedge. So as we headed into this morning, we had the rising wedge on the 4-hour time frame that broke bear into the end of the day yesterday. And we knew that the bounce that was taking place this morning was just looking for a 4-hour lower high to be the result. So overnight, we hit this low, we bounced, and into the open, the bull move was decent. But again, we knew anything under the all-time high was a 4-hour lower high. So we then saw the bears confirm to a lower low. So the big picture there, as you're heading into the setup for the morning and determining the most likely scenario, that helps you not get caught off guard. So the bulls controlled significantly the first 20 minutes of trading. You get a 5-minute dip and then 20 minutes to the upside to higher highs. But that longer term time frame is so important because there was no being faked out. Whether we started the morning here or here, we're still looking for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of that bounce. So we know there's no rush. We're not going to miss any kind of breakout. The 4-hour lower high is going to form. It's just a question of where is it going to form. So we then dropped down to the low of the day and chopped around a bit. Today, again, it's the same thing. Last week, all big tech bulls, all IWM, XLF weakness. Big tech and semiconductors, XLF, IWM, and energy sector to a certain degree. Then it flipped all this week. Big tech consolidates, semiconductors consolidate, XLF with a big move 2 days in a row. We're up 3.64% from the lows 2 days ago. So now what we're looking for, what I'm looking for, is for that to flip again. I am looking for XLF to consolidate on the daily. The question is going to be, do we reject from 40.36 or can we break it and then start consolidating? But we haven't changed the daily trend yet. So we have to confirm a daily trend change to the bulls on XLF. We're watching for XLF daily consolidation, and I'm watching for it to align with QQQ daily high or low. We're going to look for them to go inverse again. So they were inverse all last week. They flipped back to a certain direction, and I'm looking for the flip back again in the short term. So tomorrow is a full trading day, and then Friday is a half trading day. But over that day and a half, that's what I'm scouting for, a QQQ and semiconductor daily high or low, and financial sector daily consolidation to shape up. NASDAQ today, same thing on the 4-hour. So bounce, 4-hour. Just looking for the lower high, tons of space for it to form. Bear flag confirms. And then we look for QQQ back burner. It was first hourly oversold conditions coming off the all-time high. So I was looking for a bounce in QQQ, and we had a stair-step waterfall drop. Every single candle from the high of the day. That's one thing that's been really nice about QQQ the last 2 days. Just clear, nice and smooth and clear. Lower high every single candle for 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 candles. That pattern breaks. And again, the stair step pattern. If you go long on the break of 394.44, when the pattern of a lower high every candle breaks, we then see $2 of upside. You got $1 of risk and $2 of upside. And the upside potential was potentially even greater than that. So the way that I play that is I would sell half. I didn't take this particular trade. I was trading Tesla on this bounce. But you take half the position off when you can be risk-free. So if I'm in at 393.50 and my stop is under 393.40, then I look to sell half at 395, whatever the number was, $1 plus higher. So then my break even can go under the low of the day. And yes, I would have stopped out, but I would have stopped out with no loss. I didn't take that trade, but as soon as we hit this low of the day with no follow through, started looking in the opposite direction. And it was actually here that I was trading Tesla. I was focused on a gold bounce this morning. We'll look at that in just a bit. But I was saying, I was watching Tesla. Tesla at this point was dumping, hourly hitting oversold, 15-minute and 5-minute RSI crushed, and we're scouting a daily high or low on Tesla. So that's the premise of the trade, but I'm staring at QQQ because of the correlation, and I know if QQQ keeps dropping, then the RSI levels on Tesla can get extreme. So I'm watching here and just staring at it, staring at QQQ. Okay, new low of the day. Are we going to see follow through, or is the hourly oversold bounce going to get going? And then this 10 minutes is where the bulls got really convincing. at 145. And at that point in time, we had a very significant 3% bounce in 10 minutes. And I was fairly quick to exit Tesla. It was a stair-step pattern as well. Lower high every single candle on the 5-minute time frame. That pattern breaks bull at 1079. And not a huge amount of follow through, but over 1%. So again, if you're a day trader and just looking for quick flips, that's essentially the trade that I made. You know, I probably had an entry at 1077 and exited about 1% higher. Just a quick little flip, nothing to write home about, but certainly a worthwhile trade. 1%. Again, you do 1% every day. If you are compounding your gains, you will be rich in a year. It's a lot harder than it seems. So when you get a 1% chance, if you can get a 1% trade in 10 minutes, I will take that every time. So Tesla's tightening up now on the daily, all-time high, base of support, failed the all-time high, and we're now scouting a higher low compared to 978.60. So tomorrow and Friday, what I am watching is semiconductors and big tech. Can the bulls shape up an hourly trend change back in their favor for the daily higher low to be set? Anything above 387.53 is a daily higher low. Bulls trying to hold EMA 12 and shape up the daily higher low. And the semiconductors are the same thing. Can the bulls confirm the hourly trend change back in their favor tomorrow for the daily higher low to be shaping up and to be set? So that is what I am looking for heading into tomorrow. Have to hold the low of today, have to break the high of today for that daily higher low. So again, XLF, big time bounce the last couple of days. The weekly chart for XLF is still healthy. EMA 12 back as support, minimal consolidation. Need the daily trend change back to the bulls for the weekly higher low to convincingly be set, but we got a lot of space for a daily higher low to form next time we consolidate here. Strong close, but all about 40.36 resistance in the short term. Healthcare, bear break of support with no follow through at this point. Tomorrow's a pretty important day for me for healthcare. Healthcare overall doesn't have a huge impact on the S&P 500. And you can see the fact, we had a 3-day range here and we just traded within that 3-day range for 2 weeks. So nothing's going on in healthcare. So it's really been the QQQ and XLF show. And the question that I'm going to have over the next couple of weeks is XLV a bull flag on the weekly? I mean, this technically has the cup and handle pattern psychology here. We have the all-time high, a pullback. It's more V-shaped than a rounded bottom, but I care more about the resistance, the drop, the failure to break resistance, and by less than 2%, and then the bull flag. And all that is forming right now. That being said, it's only one green day. I would need to see a solid bounce from here for me to say, okay, that's a potential weekly bull flag and a potential cup and handle pattern. But the good news for the broader market bulls is the bear break of support did result in a bounce attempt. We didn't break support and then drop notably, which is what XLF did once 39.69 broke. We had multiple days of follow through. IWM still struggling to get a bounce going. Weekly EMA 12 being tested. Hourly trend change back to the bulls needed. And again, the fact that IWM is pulling back, when I'm looking at the broader market, semiconductors, tech over here, QQQ, XLF, XLE, the sectors that correlate with it, generally the travel names, and IWM, I know has a large holdings in the financial sector. So anytime XLF is green and IWM is red, I know growth is very weak. Because if growth was even flat, IWM would be green because of XLF sector. So 2 days now, IWM keeps dropping while XLF is having a very big bounce. So I know that the growth names have been very beat up the last 2 days. So what we need to see is an hourly trend change back to the bulls for IWM. And then the key level for me on IWM is going to be the daily lower high that we just set at 235.74. Bulls need to break that level for the weekly higher low to try and start shaping up. But growth has definitely been hit hard the past 3 weeks. ARKK getting beat up 3 weeks in a row here. TAN is still holding on well, comparatively more sideways while IWM pulls back. So I would look at this and say, TAN has a bullish correlation to IWM. They're positioned well for if IWM bulls can regain some momentum and set that weekly higher low. Biotech sector broke all support, but a volume climax candle. Certainly a big bullish reversal hammer, a 15-minute trend change into the end of the day. And we need to break the lower high everyday pattern, stair step drop, lower high every single day, 13 days in a row. Bulls must break 119.60. We then look for a daily lower high, and the question from there is, can the bulls confirm the daily trend change back in their favor? But either way, we just hit the lowest price on XBI in 2021. It is one of the weakest sectors without a doubt, and a daily bounce here isn't going to change that. Change the daily trend, and we'll start talking about potentially changing it. Changing momentum. Cannabis, the US cannabis space getting a little bit of life into the end of the day, and a letter came out that was signed by some already pro-cannabis people, but they're part of a committee, and we're watching, is the SAFE Act going to be included in the NDAA? And if it's not in the Senate version, it's possible that it gets added in committee. So that's something to be watching for as a catalyst. If that were to happen, that would mark our weekly higher lows. And we're looking at this next week to be a factor. So bulls are glad to hold the lows, giving back way more than they wanted to on this pullback, but low, high, and trying for the higher low. We can trade in the absence of a catalyst. We can trade within this range for a long time. If we see SAFE added to the NDAA, we're going to look for the attempt at a weekly trend change with that resistance of 33.80 coming back into play. If it is not added, we're going to be looking to test the lows, because again, at that point, what is the catalyst for the next 5 months in the cannabis space? And aside from a surprise buyout, there isn't one. And that's a bleak outlook for the sector. So I personally do not want to hold a position and be relying on news for my position to work out. So I would gladly rebuy higher. Have SAFE included and gap up, I'll buy that gap up. And I'll buy higher to instantly be green, as opposed to buying a position and hoping, please news, make it go up. I don't trade like that. And I used to, and I stopped maybe 8 years ago, and I will never go back. So that's just me personally. I will dive headfirst into this sector again if bull volume and a catalyst shows up, but in the absence of a catalyst, I'm done for now. So we're going to scout a daily lower high to be the result of any bounce from here. Keeping in mind, I do have a core MSOS position, so I do have a bit of exposure. It's just not a large one. So it's all about the catalyst. I mean, that's going to dictate the direction of the sector in the short term. We're either going to have the catalyst occur and attempt the weekly trend change, or a big failure, and we're looking right back down at the fresh lows and potentially heading to new lows. Again, I do expect every time today happens. So again, this is a bull reaction at the end of the day because the letter gets published. This is a small amount of SAFE being priced in. So what that means is, well, who's going to sell if SAFE doesn't get added? Anybody that bought today is going to be looking to bail if SAFE is not added to the NDAA. So again, these little things do price in to a certain degree, even if it's only 5% being priced in. Some of it is being priced in. So that means there will be sellers if it is not added. So just keep that in mind and keep attention on NDAA and whether SAFE is added, because that is the Hail Mary hope for the sector over the next couple of months. Dollar, still extremely strong, up near the highs, had a bit of an hourly rising wedge, and I guess you could say it is still potentially in play here. This was a factor as I was looking to play the gold bounce. And we saw a little bit of weakness, but not much. I had the line initially here, and it looked like we were breaking bear, but to see a multiple hour bounce right after a bear break tells me, nah, just adjust your line a little bit. And it's still within this rising wedge. But it was enough to get a gold bounce going. So I entered the morning looking at the 4-hour RSI in the teens and the hourly RSI in the teens on gold. So I said, okay, GDX just had a solid bounce yesterday, and I'm looking for another bounce today. So I said, okay, what are signs for me that gold is ready to bounce? And I saw a falling wedge pattern. I saw a bear break start to slow down. I know I'm looking for an hourly and 4-hour oversold bounce. So I was watching this downtrend resistance. I think I drew it on the 5-minute time frame, but this is roughly what it was. And I made my initial entry. This break here, as soon as I saw 1784 break with no follow through, that told me, yeah, a falling wedge is shaping up. Made my initial entry in GDX. And at that point in time, it was 32.17, 32.19. I would have added a second position as long as we didn't collapse under that falling wedge support, but I didn't. Just stayed in that one position and just remained patient. And the bounce eventually worked itself out, and I sold GDX for a 1% gain. Could have played NUGT with smaller capital and had a 3% gain, but I just played with more capital, GDX, less volatility. And again, so nothing huge, but Tesla bounce for 0.8 to 1% and GDX bounce for 0.8 to 1% makes a good day. So again, that's on a day in, day out basis. When you're not trying for a home run, that is all you're looking for. So hourly lower high on gold. I was looking for an EMA 12 test and knew it was just a day trade, so exited that position. Oil, 4-hour falling wedge that we had drawn, broke bull. Inventory report for both oil and natural gas are tomorrow. So nice bull move here. Weekly trying to remain healthy overall for oil. And the daily trend now will have to change back to the bulls. And ideally, the bulls are hoping for a bull reaction to the inventory report to create the space for the eventual daily trend change attempt. And again, we're watching these commodities trying to bounce as the dollar is just showing some initial signs of weakness. Uranium names had a good day today. CCJ, well, they gave a good bit back. Hourly tightening up. They were a lot stronger this morning, but upper wicket profit taking. But the bottom line is I'm watching commodities and commodity-related sectors for signs of bull life if we're going to see any dollar weakness. And there's no dollar weakness right now, but there are names that are positioned well if we do get dollar weakness. Natural gas still testing our 12-hour falling wedge resistance. If we reject, we're going to look for a pullback and another hold of this downtrending support line. And looking for a break here. Again, if it's not this week, it'll be first thing next week. We'll look for a break on natural gas. Possible that the inventory report is a catalyst to break one way or the other here. So that's what we got into tomorrow. Scouting daily higher lows on semiconductors and tech. Scouting consolidation on XLF. Overall, SPY, no red flags on this consolidation. We did lose a little daily support level, but we're holding EMA 12. Simple statement, if we keep closing above daily EMA 12, bulls are remaining in complete control. Bitcoin shaping up for volatility into the holiday weekend. And we'll see you soon. Not tomorrow, but soon. Do good things and have a good rest of your day.
Oh my God, we're going to game 3 unless he really blows it.
This is what he does. 0.6. 0.7.
Hang on, I gotta stop touching this thing. Alright.
Point it.
I mean, I guess we could redo that one.
What? No, that's your point. That wasn't good. No way to speculate. 9 or 0.9.
Point. 21-20.
Oh my God. What the? I think that was making an over.